Just asked him to unmute himself. Jerry, you need to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. We are doing our election night coverage. We are here joined by Governor Bob Ehrlich, Reed Novotny of the Howard County Republican Central Committee, and the legend of Montgomery County, Jerry Cave, who basically put what's his name, our Attorney General, quivering in his boots when you ran against him, and he was terrified that Jerry was going to run against him again, so he decided to run for. What is his job now? Is he Attorney
General?
I ran
him out of the county.
And I heard, is it true that Brian Frosch arranged for that job for you to have?
I tell you what I did do. Governor, you'll be proud of me for at least this.
Yes, sir.
I at least got him to campaign against me, which is kind of a big deal in a district as overwhelmingly Democrat.
Yes.
He had to come out and really go after it. So at least I made him work somewhat.
I agree. We talked about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and everybody and every voter in the district got mailed the full story on what that dirty dog did on Jessica's law.
And I think it's kind of like when I ran against the Fresh Prince of District 20, Will Smith. He actually did a mailing against me saying that I was one of those evil, well-funded Republicans that moved into District 20 so I could do the governor's bidding.
Gosh, Democrats would never do that.
And I think like you and the governor like each other.
Forget about us losers. We've got Governor Ehrlich with us. Governor Ehrlich broke the ice. He got us back in the game. Thank you, Governor.
I mean, he was the first governor we had elected since one of my favorite governors. I know people will disagree, but I won't mention his name, but everyone knows who I'm talking about.
You are old school, Dwight.
It's funny. You ever? So we've got. Let's look at the election real quick. They called a couple of races. Reed, telling us where have they called?
Yeah, it looks like they've already grabbed Vermont and Virginia for Biden, which are not shockers. Kentucky looks like it's coming in for Trump.
Have they called it or no?
Yeah, according to Fox News, they've called those.
Kentucky is ours.
So we shall see, though.
Okay.
Reed, do you have any news for us?
It's early in the night, sir. This is all we got.
All right.
By the way, I'm sharing our this map. This is where we are right now: Vermont, Virginia, and Kentucky. And this is just the beginning.
I can share a bit of good news, by the way.
What is that, Governor?
My contacts in Florida are reporting, and probably not a shocker given the news bulletins over the past couple of days, that we're looking at 2-point lead and likely a 2-point win for the president in Florida.
Hey, W is a W.
Listen, that's more than last time.
Yeah. Last time was like a fraction, I think, wasn't it? Like
what's interesting is if that holds up, that's precisely the number the campaign gave me a week ago with 100 to 200,000 vote margin.
And I think Georgia will definitely go our way. I don't know what the Democrats are smoking over there.
That was a completely false narrative that Georgia was in play.
Georgia
and nonsense.
I mean,
it's
crazy. And look at the money they spend in Kentucky and South Carolina. They got a lot of money, but they're trying to knock off Mitch McConnell, and then they're trying to knock off Lindsey in South Carolina. I understand. I understand why they hate those guys, but you would think if you have an extra $200 million, you might focus on North Carolina, or Iowa,
right? Win a big prize.
That brings up the issue. If you lie, you have two choices. You're either a sociopath and know you're lying and can live with it, or you start to believe it.
or you forget what the
which does not make you a liar.
or Jerry, or if you're in Joe Biden's case, you just forget what the real story is. So you're just a fool at that point.
Well, I'll tell you, I have something, Governor, that I don't think you know.
Yes, sir.
I had a story that was the most read story on American Thinker yesterday, co-authored with Bill Thomas. We looked at the early voting ballots by districts, and we had two studies. The early voting ballot by districts in North Carolina show, and other places, that Biden is getting the weakest support turnout from the Black community ever since you and I have been alive. And that's going to happen in more places than North Carolina.
Well, if just looking at I'm getting bulletins by the 10th. If that's the case, Pennsylvania is going to be a problem for them.
Yeah,
well, what it told us is basically that the election's over, because if your most ardent people aren't coming out for you, that's a problem. And
well, it's not just not coming out. Dwight talking. I thought Dwight was maybe drinking earlier off air, but
Governor, this is all I've got right now.
Because you threw that 30 at me, but I'm tending to believe more 15 to 18. Dwight, you might want to fill everybody in on what we were talking about.
Yeah, we were talking about the percentage of the black vote. President Nixon in 68 and 72 got, I believe it was 72, he got 30% of the black vote. In 68, he got about 28% of the black vote, which is the highest number.
We haven't seen those numbers in a long time.
Yeah, and I think
I have a number on that nobody else has either.
What's
they
that?
did a study at the University of New Orleans for the whole state of Louisiana. 755 likely voters, every district. 28% of the black voters preferred Trump, driven by men.
Yes.
Hold on to your seats.
It's driven by men, no doubt.
43% of the black men preferred Trump, 42 Biden. The numbers, the 28 matches, the 31 in Florida, you see the trend. They're getting less black support, and more of that community is going to support Donald Trump.
But they're two southern states. I want to see what those numbers look like in Pennsylvania and Michigan.
Yeah. And I really think
I don't want to call you a Governor Doubting Thomas. Don't do that.
No, but I think, look, anything between 10 and 15%.
Anything north of you're saying 10, Jerry, and I'll be a little more optimistic. I will not be a Doubting Thomas. Anything 15 or north would be very helpful.
I think he's not only going to get that, I think he's going to get a bigger chunk out of the Latino vote.
Yes.
And Governor, that is going to break apart the Democratic Party, because we lose. Think how many Asian voters are more conservative fiscally and financially than we are, and culturally than we are. But this dishonest branding of us keeps them from voting for us. This is going to break the whole thing up.
Well, good job by the Trump campaign, and good job by well-known Hispanics, particularly in the Latino community. Good job in organizing in Florida. Jerry, I totally agree with you. I've been talking about this for a long time.
I think what may have also got the Hispanic.
You've been my witness. The future of this party is Hispanic.
Yeah. Also, Governor,
as far as our base.
Yeah. I think what also probably helped President Trump was the what I like to call the John Wilkes Booth Project commercial they did, where they said they equated President Trump with Fidel Castro, and those.
But you know what? But here, look. Let's just be honest here. We're talking about Latinos. We're talking about Hispanics who have escaped socialism.
Yep,
they're relatively easy votes for us, right?
Yep.
Exactly. Venezuelans, Cubans. We're talking. Let's put them aside for a second. Let's talk about the rest of the Hispanic community. That's where we need, and I think we're going to see this tonight. That's where we see need, and I think we'll see real progress.
Mm-hmm.
And what Trump asked for their vote 4 years ago, and then he worked his rear end off.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. If things keep going the way we think they might be going here, one of the morals here is records count.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're exactly right, Governor. And I would say, just being here in Howard County too, a lot of my neighbors are first generation from somewhere else, India, somewhere in Asia. This concept that people from overseas are just not going to like Trump is not true. I walked over to my neighbor's house and he said, "Oh my God, I love Trump because I waited in line. My parents waited in line. We came here legally. I don't want everyone to just jump the way. We had to pay this money. We had to do this and this and this.
Oh.
And they're big supporters of equal immigration, not willy-nilly, anyone who runs across the border, all those kind of things. So I think that, coupled with the religious factor of a lot of people coming here from overseas, strong Christian and Catholic values,
Cultural
I don't
values.
understand why we're not getting more of that vote, and we should be.
Well, I've been as Dwight's my witness. I've been screaming about this for years, and it may have taken a Trump. It may have taken a character like Trump, a presence like Trump, to break that barrier. And how ironic that would be, given what he's called by the left. But I think you're right.
When Herman came to campaign in Maryland for his first meeting in Baltimore, I go up to the venue and I bum a cigarette. I quit, but I bummed a cigarette off this guy. I said, I want to meet Herman Cain. He says, I can help you with that. I said, who the heck are you? I'm his campaign manager. Perfect. I go up to Herman. I said, I've been looking for you. He says, here I am. I said, I've been looking for you all my life because I am sick and tired of being called a racist because I'm a conservative Republican. He put his arm around me like his best friend and paternalistically looked down and said, the next time they say that to you, Jerry, you ask them, how come the black guy is at the top of all the primary polls?
Yeah. Well, here's something else, Jerry. You mentioned that. I remember I got a lot of flack from my lefty people I knew in high school about how at the convention we did nothing to honor Herman Cain. And I'm like, were you watching CNN and missed all the eulogizing of Herman Cain we did when he did pass away? Yeah. And I was like, we're not going to be, Herman Cain was a great loss to the Republican Party, but we're not going to, here's the thing, we're not going to dwell on sad news, and did you not see all the African-Americans we had, Herschel Walker, and a bunch of other people? And
no, you're exactly right. And I was going to mention too, locally here, right? Kim Klacik is running as an African-American.
$6.5 million. Governor, would you believe a CD7 candidate has raised $6.5 million?
She told us 7.2 last week.
Listen, I am not going to be. I've been labeled here already a unenthused. What term did you use, Gary?
Thomas is what
Gary. What phrase did you use earlier? I'll just point out that I do live in the real world, and we all do, and the fact of it is, most of that money came from out of state. Most of the money came because she's an exciting candidate. Mm-hmm. She's terrific. She's in a terrible district, horrible district as far as Republicans go, obviously minus whatever it is, 26, 28, 30.
26, yeah.
26, but she's a star.
And I'll tell you this, if she runs for U.S. Senate.
She's right now she's more of a national candidate than she is a Maryland candidate.
And if she runs for U.S. Senate against Van Hollen in 2 years, I think she could beat it. If she holds on to some of this money that she's raised.
No.
What?
She's a star.
Yeah, she is
a star. We need to run her in a district. I've talked to her about this, where she can win.
CD6?
I'm talking about win. I'm talking about win. Because she's a star. We need to find, the right Senate seat. Do you guys agree with me?
No, I agree with you, Governor. But what we need to do is what she's done. We need to run great candidates in every office in every county, and when they start to see that we have got great people of all hues of the rainbow, then that combined with what the president's doing, we can break this narrative. Because this is
totally agree. I just think that I agree with you, and this is sort of a free shot this time. Mm-hmm. And she's really conducted herself very well. Yeah. That 6.5 insane, right, Reed? But the bottom line is, we got to find her a state delegate seat, Senate seat, council seat, whatever it is, because she's going to go up the chain.
So I'm with you, Governor. I think one of the most important parts too right now is worrying about 2020 and getting the redistricting right.
Yeah.
When redistricting comes out in 21 or 22, when we actually go to the ballot box, if we could actually get 3 of the 5 or 3 of the 8, so 3 conservative-ish, winning-ish districts that we could go for. Yeah. Maybe in 22 she runs for something that's actually winnable.
Yeah, that's the point, because she's got it all. And I met with her many months ago because she was recommended that I meet with her, and I was really impressed. And obviously she's done nothing to change my mind.
Yeah, listen, I got it.
Go back to what Jerry said too, about the Republican Party being branded as racist. I went to an event last week with Kathy Salega, Andy Harris, Kim Plasek, and we're sitting in this room, and there's 100 people in the room. And Kim and her team were some of the few African Americans there, but there was every single other person was riveted. It's because she's a great individual. It doesn't matter what skin color she is.
Exactly.
She's a great individual. She's intelligent. Everyone was there to hear her. She was a star. Andy Harris gave the microphone to her because he said, "Hey, I'm here, got it. But guess what? You all want to come and see Kim."
Yeah.
And everyone clapped.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a racist event.
They're going to go after her. We need to find the right seat.
Yeah. And by the way, Reed,
a
lot of the credit goes to Governor Ehrlich. When Governor Ehrlich first became governor in 2002, he made a great Lincoln Day dinner speech in Montgomery County where he basically said how this is not even your brother's Republican Party. You looked around, there were African Americans, there were Asians, there were every color of the rainbow, as the left would say, in that room supporting Governor Ehrlich. And
speaking of which, Dwight, for the panel here, I'm very interested to see nationally the Indian American vote this time.
Yes, and
very interested. Yeah. I think the president's going to do very well, Dwight.
Yeah, I was over at my mother's, and they're running these commercials. The Biden-Harris people are running commercials, but then initially I was just seeing those commercials. Now they've got some business guy in Florida and a guy in Mississippi that are running pro-Trump ads on those Indian networks. And it was funny.
Let me come back to what the president has done for a minute. In the last election, he broke into the blue wall. He is going to do that again for the second time. What he is doing now is he has broken into their black wall, and he's going to get more Latino votes. This is going to get everybody to start to look at this totally differently. Senator Scott from South Carolina has said it, and Thomas Sowell has said it. This can get people to start to be voting based on their issues. Who knows? We might even get white people to do that too.
And let me see if we've got any more, if Fox has called any more race. I think they just called Indiana, right, Reed?
I'm going to predict we won that one.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, let me see. Not yet. According to their website, it looks like it's still a hue of pink, which I think they're leaning.
Come on, Reed. Come on, make it red.
Well, the doctors are calling Indiana for President Trump. We're calling it for President Trump.
All right.
I'm going out on a limb.
11 at this point. It will be 1916.
Yeah.
16 electoral for Biden, 19 if we got Indiana coming that way.
I mean, Governor, what do you think if we flip New Hampshire tonight? Because
I don't think that's going to happen. That would be huge. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be huge. We've been trailing there. We've closed some, but from what I've seen, Dwight, I'd be surprised. I think it's going to be close again, but it's getting more difficult.
There's a big difference.
New Hampshire used to be a reliable state for us years ago.
I know. I think for people moving over
from Vermont and Massachusetts.
Yeah.
They got rid of same-day voting, and Rona McDaniel's Twitter feed had a very interesting statistic that a significant percentage of people that went to the Trump rally hadn't voted before and weren't registered Republicans. And my question, why would you wait an hour for a Trump rally and not vote for the man?
Yeah, if those numbers are really accurate from Jerry, I've seen this. If that's true, that is one huge tonight. But as you said earlier, that's huge going forward too.
And they got rid of same-day voting, I believe, registration and voting in New Hampshire.
Yeah. New Hampshire, Dwight's going to be tough though. It's not in my map. But
it's not on my map, but I was thinking like, it'd be funny, because I've got that as a sleeper pick, sort of speaking. Like, every Sunday you pick a sleeper team to win. New Hampshire is my sleeper.
Here's my most interesting state of the night, you guys. Minnesota. Because I think we can't afford, Reed, you can't afford to make that red at any time until it's actually known. But I keep hearing whispers.
I don't know what happened in Minnesota. Minnesota, if you remember back in the days, we had Vin Weber from Minnesota, Rudy Boschwitz, David Durnberger. Three Republicans.
Haven't carried there since '72.
Yeah, I know. Nixon was the last president to win. But my
So
point
North
is,
Carolina and Ohio close here soon. So I think
Okay.
that's the next two.
I'll be interested in North Carolina, guys.
Yeah,
Can't imagine we don't
I
get
heard
North
that
Carolina.
we won 7 out of 8 days in early voting on the Republican side. I don't know if people saw
Here-
that.
That'd be huge. That'd be huge in North Carolina.
Yes. So
Wow,
they
that
said
would-
that in North Carolina,
So
the
that-
early vote for Democrats, the Republicans had never won it in an early vote. And one of my friends who is working in North Carolina, representative race down there, said they had won 7 out of 8 days in early voting in North Carolina.
That is huge.
It would be huge.
I have another statistic on North Carolina.
what's that?
The early voting, Obama got 27% of the early voting in Obama's race with black voters. In 2016, Hillary only polled 22%. And the numbers as of Friday last week was down to 19.5%.
Yeah, we're seeing that. We're seeing that around.
Is this a fair assessment, Governor? I think if the president wins North Carolina, I think we have Governor Dan Forrest as the next governor.
Well,
Roy
listen,
Cooper
that
goes
means probably, listen, for our media purposes, that means Tillis probably won, which
Yep.
is gigantic, you
Yep.
guys. It's big.
down. Phyllis, and I tell you, if we can flip Michigan,
Well,
and I've
that would
heard,
be
and I've
another
yeah.
star, another Republican star there.
And I was talking to my friend with the main GOP. We're saying that she's strong in the Portland suburbs, Susan Collins. Because people still, because I did
Right.
Susan's campaign back when she first won.
But I'll tell you, Dwight, a lot of Republicans have been running that race off.
Yeah. It'd be a nice surprise for us.
Can
if we
I
wake up.
just, my time is a little short here,
Sure,
but
go ahead.
I just want to give a formula that the pollster I trust the most, I should say, gave me a couple months ago.
Mhm.
And I think it's pretty good shorthand. It hasn't changed. The denominator is Florida, 3 Sun Belt, North Carolina, Florida, Arizona. That's the denominator, Sun Belt denominator. And the numerator is 1 of Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. That's
right.
our ticket. And if we hit that formula, we're going to win the race.
Yeah, I mean, there was a guy this afternoon. I was listening to the
And
radio.
Iowa, we'll get Iowa.
No, I'm not even counting Iowa. I think I was in the bag.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Iowa.
Yeah.
Hey, Reed, make Iowa red right now.
I'll tell you,
Biden's got
the most
a
interesting
59% probability of winning Georgia, according to Fox News. But
Who does? Say it again.
Biden, Fox News is saying 59% probability of winning Georgia. I don't believe that yet. It's going to flip around when the votes come in.
Biden?
Biden?
The probability desk that Fox News is looking at, they're basically counting all the early votes and then what is coming in. So I think that's going to flip as soon as they start counting the real votes the day of.
Yeah, because that would be disastrous, obviously.
that's not happening.
It's
I was in broadcasting for 20 years. Their job is to hold the audience.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all night long we've been watching, so it'll be good.
Trafalgar gives us all the states the governor just pointed out, with the exception of Pennsylvania. It's too tight. But to me, the state to watch is Michigan.
Well, Trafalgar also, yeah, they're the ones that called
That's
Michigan
too.
for the president today. I mean, they were saying how the president's going to win Michigan. And you know something? I know the Biden people say they don't need Pennsylvania and Florida to win, but I don't think the president needs Pennsylvania to win either.
I disagree. I think we need Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, we need Pennsylvania or Michigan. I'll take one or the other.
Yeah. I think we'll get Michigan because, if you're an auto worker in Michigan, you remember what it was like 40 years ago. And as
Yeah,
I like
why
to
would
say,
you vote?
And if you're living in Youngstown, you remember 4 years ago. If you're living in Cleveland, you remember 4 years ago what Ohio was like, under Obama.
Why would any blue collar person who voted for Trump not vote for him now?
Jerry, what are your numbers say about Arizona?
I've been relying on the Trafalgar polls because I'm in the business of metrics and everything. And in Arizona, they're predicting the opt for us by a pretty healthy margin. They're also giving us Michigan by enough to win. Just depends on how much they can cheat.
Yeah.
I tell you, if Pennsylvania, I tell you, what I don't like is the fact that the Supreme Court says, "Oh, they can keep counting until Friday." In Pennsylvania, that's just that reminds me of the Ellen Sauber race of '94, where
Oh God.
Ellen was declared the winner, and then in the morning, all of a sudden, out of Baltimore City and Prince George's County, we get these boxes of. I mean, this is back when they used to do the paper ballots. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Bad memories.
Yeah.
How cool is it going to be tonight for the president to go, oh, you're going to call Pennsylvania tomorrow? That'll add to our total, but we've already won the election.
That would be pretty cool, guys.
It would be. I mean, there is a theory, and I was being, nice to my Democrat friends. I go, remember 2004, how excited you guys were when you read Matt Drudge at noon saying that it's over for President Bush, one and done, and you guys were really excited about that. And then 10:30 rolled around, and it was President Bush again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
well, same thing with the exit polls last time with Trump.
Yeah. I mean, if you recall, and here's the thing, and as I tell people, I go, there's no reason to get excited about polls. I've lost faith in polls since 2012 when everybody said Mitt Romney was going to be the next president. And then I tell you, living in Maryland, Governor, I've seen I remember when Bill Shepard lost in 1990, that didn't faze me. Ellen Sauber, a valiant effort in 94, that didn't faze me. But hey, Mitt Romney losing that one, I was kind of a little blown away a little bit on that one. I don't know why, but that one hurt a little bit more.
Yeah. You can't get the data anymore. There's a great article that talks about how they used to be able to get 50% of the people they call. Now they can't get 1% of the people they call. You can't get it. And the other thing is they've been dishonest in their weighting. They predicted the same thing 4 years ago. So why would we believe the same thing when they were wrong then?
True. And I think they're very wrong on a lot of different fronts. If you ask me about everything from they're cooking the books, like here's the thing, the GDP from last Friday was Friday numbers, was it, or Thursday? The GDP, I mean, these were like wild GDP numbers. We're back to where we were pre-COVID now with GDP pretty much. The stock market, it
looks like Florida's got a lot of results in.
Oh, good. Can I make it red?
No, not yet. So be careful.
Yeah.
It said 57. It said 57% in. Let's see if they have it shaded blue right now. I know it's not good. Let's take a look.
Calm down.
Right now it says 50% to 48.8%, with 50% or 57% in. So again, Biden is at 50%. Mm-hmm. Trump is at 48% with 50% counted. But you got to think that 50% counted is all the early voting.
Exactly. So that's excellent news.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, that's excellent.
And they have not. This does not take into. Let me tell you, the president's going to win the Space Coast area, which is Brevard County, my home away from home, the reddest of red part of Florida, where every level of power is controlled by Republicans in Brevard County.
Right.
Politics. Can I ask the governor a question?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Okay, here it is. Early voting used to be the Democrats' domain. In the last election, we came out. In this election, everybody came out. All the polls are guesses. They're what we call soft data in my business. Who you vote for is a secret, but who voted is not. The early voting is now telling us who wins the elections, because if I know how many votes are coming out of a district and what happened in the past and early voting, I then can project which of the key states necessary to win. I think early voting is literally like being able to give out the information at noon, but it's better than that because early voting is information across the state. Whereas in Pennsylvania, the votes come in from
we won West Virginia, by the way.
First. So don't you think
Governor 5 in West Virginia.
Tell the story every time?
Here's your, can I respond to that?
Yeah.
I've seen early voting from the jump as a solution in search of a problem. I've I have a minor because your point, it's precisely your point. I would also add to your point, by the way, how crazy is it to have voting booths open when you still have a major presidential debate to go? That really makes your case. So I agree with you because the end result of your observation is to discourage voters voting if it becomes predictable enough. So your point is well taken. I have no problem with traditional, obviously, absentees. I have no problem with the limited early vote. I have no problem with making it a national day for voting. But again, it's way out of hand in my view, particularly this time with all the mail.
Mm-hmm. And I think
better than most of us, Governor, the go into early voting, especially when you're a candidate and you have to, man 150 different places with all your supporters.
Yeah.
It is the worst being a candidate when you're doing that too.
Yeah. And for down ballot races, that counts. The folks, the polls count. So another reason, you're right. I see this as a. I have no problem, I guess, with some limited early voting, but when it gets to be to this extent, it's not good.
I'm not in favor of early voting at all. It's just the observation is if you get millions of hard pieces of hard data, you can project these races. The team we had that worked on the Trump campaign in 2016.
So this is a good statistic
our
too.
guy was doing it better.
Reed's got some news, Jerry, for us.
So Miami-Dade, they just said Biden is only up by 10 percentage points in Miami-Dade, where Clinton was up 20 percentage points. So if Miami-Dade comes out only 10 points up,
I agree.
That's all over for Florida.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Listen, I need to get some other interviews, guys. It's been great to spend time.
Thank you, Governor.
Yeah, thank you, Governor. Great seeing you tonight. Good luck.
You ever come down to New Orleans, Governor, look us up. We take you out and we buy you something. We laissez les portons rouler, okay?
I look forward to it, my friend. Take care.
Take care, Governor. Okay, so as the results are coming in, Florida, we are waiting on final calls, but I mean, it's good. It looks good for us.
Yeah, let me say this too, because no matter what happens, this conversation is going to come up again. We can bring it up probably 10 times tonight.
Mm-hmm.
The popular vote versus the electoral college. Right now it looks like President Trump has 4.6 million and Biden has 4.5 million. So with all that just being said, it is looking very equal. We're looking at 49 to 50% of the vote. 49% in Biden, 50% right now under Trump, as these numbers keep on coming up. So in the electoral college is actually flipped right now. Biden has 16 electoral college and Trump has 13, even though Trump is winning in the popular vote. We all know how this works, but it's just right now what they're looking at.
Yeah, and we called Indiana, so technically Trump's ahead.
There you go.
Okay. How sweet is it going to be if Trump wins the popular vote and Maryland's electors have to cast their ballots for him?
So Jerry, explain to me, did they actually pass that law? I know they passed it in other states. Did they pass that law in Maryland?
You're asking me? I'm not even in the country anymore. I'm in New Orleans. It's like Central America down here. We barely got electricity.
So yeah, I saw that.
Hey, that's like, I thought you were, wait a minute, Jerry, you just described California barely having electricity. California, let me tell you, I had a friend of mine, he went to Thailand when he was about 10 years old. And he was telling me how he goes, yeah, California is a lot like Thailand because in Thailand, you had power during the day and around 5 o'clock, the power would be shut off because they didn't have enough electricity. And California is having the same problem because they're running out of electricity and they're having brownouts and people are losing power at nighttime.
You're going to hate me, guys, but I have got a house full of my family who are leaving town next week.
Okay.
I've got to sneak out early myself.
Okay. Thanks for being on.
You will forgive me. I've never done this before. And I don't even like my family as much as I like you all.
And by the way, if you want to jump on, we'll be here for a while. So if you want to jump on later, we'll be here, Jerry.
If I can get rid of them, I'm coming right back.
No, enjoy your family, Jerry. You know what's important.
Thanks. Oh, and just to let you know, this was my only outlet tonight. because I got put in Facebook jail for the 4th time.
Again? I
Yeah.
tell you, that recidivism rate there is horrible.
Yes. Apparently, they did not like my comment about. Well, I don't want to get kicked off your area.
Did you say the sky was blue? Is that what got you kicked off?
You know what it was?
Because some pinko thought the sky was basically a hue of pink.
Someone made a comment about how Republican women are more attractive. And I followed it up with, I don't see how Democrats procreate.
That got you off? That's just, yeah. That's not much.
Now,
And
one more thing, Dwight.
yes.
I heard you say earlier that you're being nice to your liberal friends.
Yeah.
Don't make me come up there.
Oh, let me tell you.
Stop doing that.
Let me tell you, Jared, me being nice, it all depends on the definition of nice. Me being nice is I am putting them in Dwight jail. So, by the way, the recidivism rate in Dwight jail, there's one person, you've probably seen him on my wall. He's now a lifer in Dwight jail. He's not allowed to post. He was posting, and then I said, I'm sorry, you violate my community standards. So your post has been removed. I did like 5 or 6 times, and he got the message. Now he's like a lifer in jail.
That's great.
I may let him out.
Thank you very much. And I'm sorry to let go. I'll
Okay.
talk to you all soon.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry.
Bye.
So
Hey, let's talk about Florida real quick too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is pretty exciting. Fox News is actually going through some of the numbers. If you're watching Fox News, I'm looking at the web page here too, and it looks like the percentages are getting a lot closer: 4 million to 3.9 million.
Yep.
Biden is still in the lead, 50.48, so 50.5,
Mm-hmm.
and Trump is at 48.75. So it's fluctuating back and forth. That's 67% in. Recorded in yet. So a lot more to go. And the thought process is, of course, that most of the more liberal votes came in last week and are already counted.
And in 20 minutes, we're going to have polls going to be closing in our area, Maryland, as well as, okay. Oh, these are just early numbers. They're showing Biden 48 and 52 in Georgia. But
they're flipping through a lot of early numbers right now. It looks like they have Georgia leaning just by a slight margin, only 5% in right now. They have him up by about 2 percentage points.
Yeah, but he's up in Fulton County, which is really good. They're showing the president's up in Fulton County, which is not your hard right. That's the seat of Atlanta. The city of Atlanta seat is also in Fulton County. The courthouse, state capitol is in Fulton County. And the fact that he's up there, which is good. And he's doing well in those North Atlanta suburbs, like Johns Creek and so on, which is good. Good sign. They're, and I think North Carolina, I think it'll go our way. And I think the governor's race, which is really important there, because Roy Cooper has just done a horrible job there as governor. He basically 4 years ago defeated Governor McCrory, a friend of our shows, who's done our show a couple of times in the past. And Dan Forest I don't know if you ever heard Dan Forest speak at all. I had the opportunity to listen to him speak a couple times at the North Carolina State Party Convention. I mean, this guy is presidential timber here. He gets elected to governor. We're going to see him running for president one day.
That's good. I know one of my big issues with especially the Republican Party is growing people, right? Obviously it's a different growth from the governor to the presidency, but growing people from local school board all the way through the governorship. I think it's very important to have that type of mentorship throughout the party.
Yeah, and I think we should really focus on municipal, like in Kensington, Maryland, Montgomery County, we actually got 2 Republicans elected there. Now we have 1 Republican elected there because a certain person who is a past chairman outed our Republican on the county council there by sending out like a email to everyone, hey, vote for the Republican, and that kind of, he lost by like 20 votes.
Yeah, I tell you what, the over across the border here in Howard County, we have seen both the Democrats and the Republicans come and support nonpartisan races. It's not like, in most cases, it's not like the actual person running for office is saying I'm a Democrat, but it's the party endorsing them. So not an illegal thing. And actually, we were looking at our school board code of ethics. If someone's running for office, it actually says in there it's a nonpartisan election, but they could say all day long, there's no ethics. There's no law that they're going to have to abide by until they're elected. Now, if they're elected, then they might have to deal with some type of electoral problem with an ethics violation at the county or the state level. But before, I couldn't see in my, I slept at a Holiday Inn lawyering looking through it.
And I tell you, that's the other thing about Maryland. We've got stuff coming up, we got, looking ahead after tonight, we're all going to look at 2022. We've got a gubernatorial race. I have a feeling the fact that I hear the Democrats want Perez, the very woke Democrat National Committee chairman, to run for governor. They're not ready to give the mantle to Peter Franchot. And I think that has to do, part of the reason why Peter Franchot is trying to do his tack to the left, because he's lost the wokeness credibility with a lot of the Maryland Democrats.
I tell you what, I encourage the Democratic Party to run the most left candidate that they can find. That's all I'll say.
I think Ben Just, give another try. It was just
I agree with you on this one.
I also think a lot of the county executive races, I think that were flipped last time. I think Anne Arundel was ready to flip back. And I tell you, even Howard County with the lockdown, and you guys are still in phase 2, I'm assuming, or are you in phase 3?
Phase 3, I believe right now. My biggest issue, and we kind of talked about this last time we had the governor online, the fact that I can almost walk to Carroll County from here, no difference, and they're playing tackle football, they're having cheerleading, they're doing all these activities, they're going hybrid school, and Howard County doesn't even want to think about it. I think that's more my issue right now, is they don't even want to talk about it with all the messaging coming out. They don't even want to try to do something like that. So it's pretty frustrating. I think that sets up a candidate to run for county exec who might be slightly more conservative than Calvin Ball.
And I tell you, you guys have a decent farm bench there. I mean, is Alan going to run again? But I tell you, somebody, like
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, the old, what's her name? Name fails me. She lost this time around. Gail Bates. I think that's a seat that we can take back. Gail Bates' seat is something we can take back.
Yeah, I think.
I hear there's a really good person thinking about running for that seat.
No, never heard of a guy running out here. But, I think you're right, though. And as they redraw the districts, God willing, they actually redraw the districts so they're somewhat competitive for a conservative possibly to win.
Yep. And they're not going to be able to. Here's the thing. I know they like to get really cute by destroying districts and stuff like that. They can only get so cute before, they get diminishing returns. Like if they were like, I know the Democrats, Ben Jealous and the Democrats would love to get rid of Andy Harris' seat. But, if you make Andy Harris' seat more, you got to take those conservatives and put them in, another district, and you're getting a little too cute now. I mean,
if you just count the number of Democrats and Republicans and assume that all the Democrats are going to vote D and all the R's going to vote R and the independents are going to split, there should be 3 Republicans at least at the U.S. level and 5 Democrats, and that's how it should be, not 1 to 7. It shouldn't be 1 to 7.
Yeah, and I think like in Montgomery County, the 8th congressional, which is, it's more Democrat, but a good candidate could win that. But I mean, 6 is another one that that should be ours, quite frankly. There's no reason why somebody living in Cumberland has they've got nothing in common with somebody living in Montgomery County. And I mean,
does that district go all the way down to Silver Spring too?
Yeah, it goes close to, but it goes into Bethesda.
Bethesda.
And it's, you're getting all these people, you're getting western part of Montgomery County. The 8th got Silver Spring, Kensington, the eastern part of the county. And what they really should do is, and I mean, this just makes too much sense, so they'll never do it. Montgomery County should be the 8th congressional district. The whole county should be one district. You take District 6, take it across the top through Carroll County, parts of Howard County, and that's the new 6th. You take Dutch Rupert District, take it, put more of 7 in Baltimore County, and you take it up into Harford County, and then we've got a Republican district there.
Yeah, I'm tracking. I mean, there needs to be, wasn't it Bartlett? He was out in the West. We need a West district. I think conservatives could win a West district of Maryland, and in the far East, obviously the shore where Harris is, and then, maybe somewhere else.
I think if we took Baltimore County, North Baltimore County, and move it up into Harford County, I think that's another seat for us to win. And we can actually, the old Cold War policy of containment. I actually have this grand view of containing all the liberals in Montgomery, Prince George's, and Baltimore City. We can get creative with those lines, and we could have 4-3, where we have the majority. That's getting.
Well, I tell you what, that's only going to happen if we actually elect more people to the House of Delegates and the state Senate.
And remember, they're going to play with those House seats too. What would be great is if we all had single member districts. In Maryland, we could actually create some districts in Montgomery County where we could win. But unlike Democrats, we don't complain about that. We basically take the hand that we're dealt and we play with that. And honestly, I look at it as Montgomery County. We have a lot of tough races, but we need to have good candidates because you never know when something is going to break, where the Democrat could be caught with his mistress, sending texts, to a mistress, stuff like that. We need to have a good candidate to take advantage of that. We've got candidates right now. Right now we have Neil Parrott's a wonderful candidate in District 6. I wish we had a great candidate running, in all of our districts in Maryland. I think Johnny Ray Salling's doing a great job running against Dutch.
Yeah, I mean, he needed $7 million, so just like Kim.
Yeah, and I hope Kim holds on to some of that money so she can run in 2 years. I know the governor disagrees with having a run against Van Hollen, but I think she could beat Van Hollen.
Yeah, I don't know how popular Van Hollen is outside of kind of Silver Spring down in. Yeah. I mean, he's in Montgomery, right?
Yeah, he's in Montgomery County. He lives in Kensington. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you walked around the state, how many people would know his name, really, in my opinion?
Nobody. And what's happening is in Maryland, back when I was growing up, all the power was situated in Baltimore. And Baltimore got to pick the governor, the senators, that's how it was. And then we saw this, I think it was actually after, I want to say when Larry Hogan, right around the time Larry Hogan, actually Paris Glendenning, when he became governor, that's when the power slowly started shifting to Prince George's, Montgomery County. Now there are no statewide candidates. There are no statewide people that are from Baltimore County or Baltimore City or that area.
I mean, they can't win at this point, for sure.
Now,
because they're too liberal at this point, especially in Baltimore City.
Yeah, and the point is Montgomery County, basically you're set with Montgomery County liberals running the show in state, the fact is that you got something coming up?
Let me say this is the first time for the night that I think that it's 49-49 for Florida.
Oh,
so
really?
it's
going
close.
in the right direction. It's going in the right direction.
Getting close that, and as they're counting more here, still 49-49 with a percentage point. Biden is still slightly ahead according to this. So let me see, 49.93 to 49.25.
They haven't called South Carolina, but we're doing really well there.
That's a good one in Florida.
Yeah.
So let me
things
tell you
are moving in the right direction, and I think also one of the things we're getting is this is helping. I think this is going to help a lot of down ballot candidates. I think even though I do think it's going to be a tough night for the House. We've got, as I mentioned, Congressman King's seat in New York.
That's true.
It's a tough one. I really wish Congressman King hung out there for another year, another term. We could have held that seat, and we could have mentored somebody. to run, but that didn't happen. I think that's going to be lost for us. Will Hurd's seat is another one, but I think we're going to pick up. The Parnell is going to be a pickup for us. We'll be able to trade some of these. Like Will Hurd's seat's going to go, but we're going to flip the Pittsburgh area district, which used to be Rick Santorum's district when he was in Congress, where the Democrat who ran as a moderate and he's voted 90% of the time with Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats. Parnell should pull that one out for us. I think I think if things hold in North Carolina, we're looking at a good night for North Carolina Republicans with Tillis and Dan Forest, as well as the president. Governor Forest will be a phenomenal governor for North Carolina.
Yeah, that sounds great. Right now, they've called only 26 House seats, and it looks like 15 Democrats, 11 Republicans. I don't have the breakout right here, but it's super early, as you know.
Yeah, and there's no real surprises. I mean, we're about to have polls close in New York, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania at 8 o'clock. New Jersey, Delaware, I think those all polls close in about 5 minutes or so, 7 minutes, and we should hear that. I mean, I could already make Maryland blue. But
yeah, I know it's your show, right? So you could do a lot of those. You could probably, I might go out on a limb and put California blue.
Yeah, California, Hawaii.
I don't know. Hawaii, possibly.
I think if I have to change California from blue to red, that'd be the best thing I have to do all night.
We might have to record that, and for infamy, that would go down. So the interesting thing, though, that what the governor was saying before he had taken off, the states he was talking about, North Carolina, Florida, and Arizona, we should know pretty soon. North Carolina and Florida are at least on the East Coast. Yep. And Arizona will 2 hours behind, I believe. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. It'll be quick to know. And the popular vote again is 49-49. It looks like Trump's got just a slight advantage on the popular vote, but percentage-wise, it's about tied.
And I think that's actually it bodes really well for us. I think tonight. I think it's the fact that there's no surprises. We haven't seen any surprises like wins for the Democrats, I should say. We've been doing really well. We've got a lot of people watching us on Facebook, by the way, as well as on YouTube right now, that are watching our show, which is great. Welcome, and be sure and hit the like and like our Facebook page as well. It's a lot of fun, and it's gonna be an interesting evening. We're gonna have a few more people jump on.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, for the fans out there, Dwight is a almanac of history and knowledge about either current politics or former politics, going back to Spiro Agnew, I think, is one of your favorites, or Reagan quotes are always great. Yep. But I tell you what, I always learn something new when I talk to you about this.
Oh, that's good. That's that's great. I mean, I've got the fact that I've got this crazy memory. I remember back to when I was 2 years old. I could quote conversations I've had in high school. I remember every locker combination, and it's like a lot of phone numbers in my head. I mean, now I don't even make the effort to remember phone numbers. But back, before your time, we didn't have cell phones, and we had a.
Hey, I'm not that much younger than you. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
I am a mere, I don't know, 6 years younger than you? I'm 42. So.
Oh, you're 42? I thought you were younger than that.
I just look good for my age, my friend. I just look good for my age. I was born in the 70s at least.
Okay, so you do remember the 80s.
I do. I remember not having a cell phone, all those kind of things.
Do you remember television when when every TV didn't come with a remote or no cable TV?
Yes, question mark. My dad was a big fan of tech, so I think we might have been the first people on our block to have a remote. But that was, even my grandfather, I remember him having a big screen TV that was probably 4.5 feet tall and about 350 pounds.
Oh yeah,
those were good times.
We had a 27-inch RCA stereo TV. It was like when they just first got that thing was so heavy. And
Oh, I know.
we just got rid of that TV when like it was sitting on our parents' house after my dad passed away. We got rid of that TV. It was, and it still worked too, which is funny. It's like they don't build stuff like that anymore.
No, I don't think they do. As the drip of information comes in, now we're at 80% reporting in Florida. It looks like 49.7 to 49.4. So 0.37 percentage of a point difference right now.
Which is
Trump
great.
is still down. And as you know, Florida has 2 different time zones. So the other part of Florida is closing in the Panhandle. And I think you brought this up at the beginning too. The Panhandle is going to be more conservative.
Yeah.
Generically is. So hopefully he makes up a couple of votes there.
And also Northeast Florida, like Brevard County North, Orange County, where Orlando is, that tends to be a little bit more blue, but Brevard and the counties above going towards Jacksonville, those are all very red areas as well.
Yeah, so Florida and Pennsylvania are closing here in a minute or something like that, 3 minutes. So that'll be exciting. Let me tell you about one interesting race that I don't think you've ever heard of.
Sure.
There's a guy in Oregon, because I grew up in Oregon. He is running on the coast in Oregon. I wrote this down. Hold on a sec. I think it was Oregon 6. Oregon 4. His name is Alec. So I got turned on. I saw some ad on Facebook, right? And he looked like, a normal guy running for Congress. Well, come to find out, he was a Oregon guardsman who was on the train, the 1517 train to Paris.
Really?
And he was one of the guys who took down the terrorists in Paris. And now he's running for Congress in Oregon. So he looks like, and I've never met the guy. He sent me a note on Facebook. I reached out to,
Nice.
pass information to him. But he's running against someone who's been in politics, 25, 30 years, basically been in the House, a Democrat, pretty liberal. But it would be interesting. He's done a good job representing, not only he used to be in the Guard in Oregon, but he's doing a good job representing the Republican Party right there in Oregon too.
And with what's happening in Portland, I mean, that should be, that's what's happening when you have Democrat run states. We've got riots in Portland, in Seattle, San Francisco, LA. I mean,
I tell you what, there is no one who wants that kind of incivility. And I will tell you, 81% reporting Florida just flipped for Trump. He's up by 0.12%.
I will take that. And we're about 60 seconds away from the polls closing in Maryland. And I think Maryland, the big thing is going to be a lot of the referendum questions. Question 1, question 2.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, let's talk about that.
And then in Montgomery County, we got questions A through D. Hey, Jackie's joined us. Hello, everyone. As the polls close in Maryland, just want to welcome Jackie Saxton to our show. Jackie was working hard at the polls, and now she's home, hopefully warmer now than she was when she was outside at the polls. Welcome. Oh, you're on mute, Jackie.
Hi. Well,
hey.
I was not at the polls today, but I did a lot of phone calls.
There you go. Well, they're about to make some calls. Let me just show you. We've got a little map also that we're doing, and we've been flashing it back and forth.
Hey, Jackie, I'll just introduce myself too. Reed Novotny. I live in Howard County. Friend of Dwight's. He invited me here tonight.
All right. Well, I don't know how much Dwight told you about me. I am the Maryland Young Republicans National Committee woman, amongst multiple other titles it's been racking up since I've moved here. Excited to be here. Glad I got in just as Maryland polls are about to close. I don't know how quickly we'll know things. I mean, I think presidential-wise, we're all, despite how hard we've all fought, I think we all know where that's going to go.
I think I'm not going to do it yet, but I think I can do the click and do that, but I'm not going to do
Well, we just had a big tranche. 90 electoral votes to Biden, 56 to Trump.
What states went for?
close.
Wow. Yeah, they're calling 91 to Biden, 56 to Trump. They're calling Maine. Let's go over some of the ones
Sure.
for Biden, right? Maine,
Sure.
Vermont, Massachusetts. I'll just go down
Yeah.
the line there. Rhode Island, New Jersey, Connecticut, Maryland, Delaware, DC, Virginia, you already had, in Illinois.
So nothing really shocking there.
So
No. They're just a big jump right as you joined.
Florida right now up 0.2 in Trump's
Yeah.
favor.
And here's the thing. They haven't called New Hampshire yet or New York because New York polls closed too. So.
New Hampshire, they have leaning Biden. I can tell you what the percentage is here.
That's a good sign. That if it's not a
either they're just waiting or they're, they actually think it's leaning. So
but here, none of these states are like certain. We weren't expecting any of these states to go red anyways that have gone red. I mean, like New York, New Hampshire, we have them as in theory going blue. And, the president will get some electoral votes out of Maine because Maine splits it.
Yeah, you're right. New Hampshire right now, they only have 3% reporting, but it looks like Biden's up 60% to 30%, 62 to 36.
Yeah.
And even just at 10% in Georgia, it's still gonna, pretty close. I mean, we still have a long way to go, and especially with Fulton County, that they're gonna wait.
Well, Fulton County, the president's up in Fulton County, which I thought was crazy.
Well, but they said, the polls are staying open an extra 45 minutes because of the pipe burst and everything like that. But it is interesting. They were talking about
I mean, a river for
they're
crying out
definitely
loud.
seeing a lot less of the turnout they were expecting in urban parts of Georgia for Biden.
Hey, Dwight, why don't you also update the Trump's states real quick too? Because he's up to 56. Missouri, Tennessee,
yay,
amazingly, Mississippi and Alabama,
woohoo,
and Oklahoma. So what do you have the numbers at now?
67 and 92. And let me share our map again with people. And we're going to be doing this throughout the night. We are using the map from 270towin.com. And we're just filling it in. If you want to play along at home, it's 270towin.com. We'll be joined shortly by a few other people, like our regular panelists. Jeff Thornton will be joining us shortly. And we've got, this is good. 67-92, we've seen no surprises yet. And the fact that, I think South Carolina, they'll probably call it shortly for President Trump because he's really pulling ahead. In
Senate race in Maine.
Which Senate race are they calling here?
Race.
Did Susan win or lose?
I don't know. I'm not seeing a checkbox yet, and I have it on mute.
Okay.
I will let you know as soon as I see a little checkbox come up.
Sure.
Unless that wasn't the one that they were calling. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, it looks like the Democrats, they have called 42 senators, Democrats, 34 Republicans at this point. So of the night, it looks like they've called 7 Democratic seats or elections and 4 Republicans for the night at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, so right now it's 42-34 Dems. Yep. So I do want to talk a little bit about Maryland. We're going to wait and see what our Senate race looks like and our House race.
We don't have a Senate race. We just have
the House race, right? So I am curious on what you guys are thinking there. I think, most of these races are pretty cut and dry. There are obviously some that we're hoping for, our friend Chris Palumbi. Don't think he has a shot this year, unfortunately, but I really hope that this doesn't, dissuade him. I think that he's an amazing candidate who could go on.
He is a great candidate, and I think it'd be wonderful. So they're going to publish the results. I just pulled up the Montgomery County Board of Elections, and I should pull up the State Board of Elections as well get
Yeah, I'm
done.
interested in some of the questions that have come out and obviously the candidates too, like you.
Now in
Jackie.
North Carolina, although it looks like there's a very small percentage in, is 65% Trump.
Yeah, it
And
said
that
1%, I
is-
think, at that point, which is crazy.
Yeah, and that is actually really good. Oh, we're gonna have the county breakdowns for Maryland too, pretty shortly.
I think Maryland, I think the two races I think that we're looking at right now, Neil Parrott for one, definitely.
Yep.
But also I think a lot of people want to see I don't think it's a matter of if she wins, but how badly Kim Klacik loses.
Mhm.
I don't see a way that she wins, but I think it'll be really interesting, especially with the amount of national attention that she's gotten, you know, seeing where she shakes up at the end of the day.
And I think we're going in the right direction in Florida. It's almost the president's almost at 50%.
0.2.
He's close to 50%, which is great.
Yeah, you're right. It looks like he's up by about 66,000 votes at this point. President Trump is.
With
Yeah, and
83% of the vote in.
and in Georgia, he's up 50 to 48, which is too close for my comfort, frankly. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping again he pulls through in Georgia, especially seeing they had what they were seeing was disappointing numbers for the Dems there.
But I tell you, going back to elections past, 2018 was my favorite night of elections. And this is because in Maryland, Republicans have seen this many years for governor. You'd have 1% in, and they'd project the race for the Democrat, and you'd have and the numbers they'd be showing we'd be up, but because it'd be the outlier numbers. 2 years ago, Governor Hogan, when he won, they basically called the race at about 10 after 8. And what was funny is when they had the numbers, Ben Jealous 63% vote. Oh, this is great. Payback's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, when you run a campaign like you have, and Jackie, I know you're familiar with this too, the really interesting thing too is you can, in Maryland, I know they actually post the readout of the polling place at the end of the night. They'll basically put it on the window. And I've run once, and it was just exciting to see. It was part of being part of that history when I got to see the actual vote count from that location. And the location I happened to be in, I won, so that was amazing. Ended up not coming up a couple hundred short in the night, but it's still a great part to be part of our democracy and get your hat in the name, or name in the hat, and go out there and try. So.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to point out, just because they're showing it right now, with 35% of the vote in, they have 57.4% for Biden in Ohio.
But
again, 35% is still far from half of the votes.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've heard this mentioned a few times, and it looks like it's happening so far. And as the votes come in, and right now it looks like 37 came in, and now it's 56 to 42. So it's moving, but I think they're doing all the early votes, mail-in ballots first, and they're letting that all go as soon as they know, and then all the in-person comes a little later. So, we're not just getting in one location, or we don't have that fidelity right now. So we're really just getting all that early mail-in. So I think the whole point, and we've seen this with Florida, is a great example as we see President Trump coming in front. The first numbers that came out, he was down a decent amount. And then as they started counting them, it must have been, the early votes maybe closer, or maybe it's day of voting, they've started to get out, but he closed that gap. So.
And I would be really shocked if we don't hold on to Ohio, frankly, just because people living in Youngstown and in Cleveland and Cincinnati, life's gotten better for them under President Trump, and they've been better off today than they were 4 years ago. And that's the question everyone asks at the polls.
Well, and the other thing that they were talking about is if you look at the demographic of the people living in Ohio, these are your steel workers. These are your blue collar workers who I think Trump really speaks to, particularly with Biden's, history and his flip flop on fracking. He's trying to save face there, but we're all pretty much know where he stands on it, and we definitely know where Kamala Harris stands on it. So, I really think that when it comes down to it, these people are going to be looking to protect their livelihoods.
Yep.
Yeah, I tell you what, he just went over 50% in Florida, which is amazing. President Trump did. And there's great commercials that came out, great memes on the internet. I think one of my favorite was from the Trump campaign about Biden and Harris being fracking liars.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that one. It was just, I don't know what side you're on. I appreciate a good joke. So they said, I don't know what they're saying, because they came out with a clip saying, I'm not going to shut down fracking. Then they came out with a clip saying, I am going to shut down fracking. And all it said was, I don't know, but they're fracking liars.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were watching the Trump's rally last night, I think it was 4 or 5 last night. He said, I could sit here and tell you all the reasons why I'd be a better choice, or I could just let Joe do it for me. And he just had this montage of all the times that Joe has flubbed his words, or him going on that tangent about how like kids like to feel his leg hair. That one's creepy to watch every single time. So, I mean, I think, Trump was really playing up that idea that Biden could be his own worst enemy if he lets him.
Yep. And now basically in Florida, what's interesting is the areas that are not traditional Republican areas, like the Panhandle, those are the ones that are going to be coming in. And those are usually solid. That's going to be solid red.
That's solid red. They got the counties up.
Yeah.
They got the counties that they're looking at, and it's all the Panhandle counties.
Which is in another time zone.
He won big time last time.
Yeah.
So.
The other thing that they were talking about demographic-wise on Fox tonight is between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, suburban women favored Donald Trump, not by much. Both of them had abysmal ratings with suburban women, but a lot of women who really actually do have more of the vote than men in a lot of these key states. Mm-hmm. They like Trump's policies. They don't like the way he delivers the message, and to them, that could be a big deciding factor that somehow they find Joe Biden more appealing in that sense. But I think that that's really critical. I think that suburban women really are a demographic that matters, and I think that we're going to see that come into play tonight.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing: I think win, lose, or draw. I think here's my scenario. I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, if Trump loses, there's going to be a civil war." No, if President Trump loses, what would happen? One, heaven forbid if he should lose, but the president will go back to New York and go to his life, continue life, as it was 40, before November 8th, 2016. However, if the Democrats lose, that's what we have to worry about. They're the ones that are going to riot. I mean, there's a reason why in these big cities they're boarding up. Apple stores are boarding up their windows. Retailers are boarding up their windows. There's talk about calling a curfew. Even in DC tonight, the Mayor Bowser, hasn't called a curfew, which is being reckless on her part. But you got shut down DC and a bunch of other lefty groups that are going to be protesting in Lafayette Park.
Yeah. Hey, Dwight.
Yes.
You're exactly right. You know me. I'm a part of our Maryland National Guard, and I tell you what, don't worry about anything. Even if there are looters and rioters in the streets, if it gets to the point where it's a serious situation, the National Guard writ large in America will take care of business, and that's just because every single person I know in the National Guard, Democrats, Independents, and Republicans, support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Maryland much more than they care about their party, and they will make sure that does not happen. We will not have a civil war, and honestly, it would be a joke if someone tried.
But
if any group tried.
What's disappointing is that this kind of looting and rioting as a response to not getting an outcome that you want is something that's becoming kind of common to the fact where it's anticipated that years ago, as things were saying this might be a close race. Cities were like, we got to start boarding up, anticipating that this is going to happen, the same way that it has with everything going on with the civil unrest regarding the Black Lives Matter movement.
So interesting update. Sorry, Jackie. This is our live coverage, right? So it looks like they have 16% of Georgia in, and Trump is now up 53 to 45 in Georgia.
Oh, nice. I'm ready to color that one red.
Oh, come on. Don't be that aggressive.
I'm
You're
not.
Gonna jinx it. It's only 16%.
That is true.
At least wait until Fulton County comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Yeah, Fulton also. You got a bunch of counties over there in the Atlanta suburbs. Fulton is where, as I've said, where the seat of government is. The capital is sitting in Fulton County. It's like it's like calling Anne Arundel County, But you also got, you've got Gwinnett County, you've got DeKalb County, you've got, a lot of those North Atlanta suburbs, counties, So it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be. I know a lot of people, they see. I think media pundits they want everything to be a horse race, Though
I want you to keep watching.
exactly. I have a feeling that it's like if you remember 4 years ago, Pennsylvania, they called it at 10 o'clock, but the Secretary of State did not release it until like 2 a.m.
Well, it's interesting. Did you see that the headlines today that Biden said that he would declare victory if the news stations declare him the victor tonight?
Yep.
And like,
well, these guys are still mad about Bush v. Gore from 2000, because what happened there was
Jackie remembers, she was there, right?
Bush, what 2000? I was 3.
yeah.
At least I remember. I was in college. No, I graduated college.
Where were you on 9/11? I'm like, daycare? I don't know.
I was in the military. Yeah, fun times. I was a lieutenant.
When I was 4, I gave up my blankie. That was the most important thing that happened to me when I was 4.
Dwight and I already talked about this. We need a pipeline of great conservatives, starting from my daughter who's 9. Not that I'm brainwashing her, but she reads the information.
Yeah.
She voted for Hillary last time, and I think she might vote for Trump this time. Who knows? But
and here's the thing: we don't, as conservatives, we don't brainwash our children. We give them the facts. We've got, we let them know what's what, and you kind of make the decision. As I like to tell kids, do you like affluency or poverty? If you like affluency, vote Republican. If you like poverty, vote Democrat. Because something. Look at all the folks that have been voting. By the way, hello, Nicole Bennett. Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. Nicole Bennett.
Oh, okay. I have to laugh at this. Someone commented on one of my posts because I posted my I voted, my virtual sticker. Craig, our good friend Craig Yoakum, commented that he's at the polls and he's about to go vote for Gregory Cole. And this guy from one of my meetup groups that I used to host for foodies, he puts like what or like who is that on like every single one of my posts.
Is his initials AS?
No.
Okay.
So the guy's Craig comments, about to go vote for Gregory Cole, and he writes, who? This guy, his name is Clark. he was on my foodies group. This guy just like he doesn't know what anything is. He didn't know what's going on, and I think that was hilarious.
Look at Gregory Cole this past weekend. He was sign waving over the overpass in Kensington, on Seminary Road. I guess is it Seminary or Forest Glen Road? I forget the name. It's down by the castle.
Hey, they call a couple more states.
Awesome.
So it looks like, well, I might be lying, but he went up to 67. So what am I missing?
Yeah, I saw that in North Carolina.
Yeah.
But still says less than 1%.
Well, they must have called some. Indiana, do you have Indiana, Dwight?
Yep.
Let's do our check.
Yeah, we called
Missouri, Tennessee.
Yep.
Is Tennessee the one they just called?
No, we had Tennessee
earlier.
Yeah, how do you go up to 67 electoral votes? Was he at 67? Am I just getting tired?
He was at 67 because remember they just called Indiana. We called Indiana before the networks did.
Okay.
But
that was a discrepancy.
I think he is right now up to 67%. Or is that what it said? I think in North Carolina, but it still says less than 1% of the vote.
Yep. And I think so
right now in Pennsylvania with 3% of the vote, and Biden is up at 81%.
That's Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the people that live right around here.
Philadelphia and Pittsburgh.
I tell you what, Florida is looking better and better. We're up by almost 2 points. Yeah, which is Florida, what the governor said. Isn't that exactly what the governor said before he left?
Exactly. Governor Bob, you were right on the money.
And we're seeing Arizona and Wisconsin closing soon, which are 2 races that we definitely want to see.
And I tell you, I can't wait till they call Arkansas and Louisiana for us because they're gonna be solid red too.
Texas right now, they still have, 49.4 to 49.2 with Biden up by 0.2
Where?
In Texas. And we all
But-
know Texas is going to go
Well,
red.
the polls haven't closed yet in Texas.
They
You know.
haven't- There are a lot of people who I've heard whispering on the internet saying, oh, Texas could swing blue. I'm like, I mean, when hell freezes over, but also
Oh, stop
No.
dreaming. They've been dreaming about Texas,
Texas
going.
has already flipped from when you said that, Jackie. It's already flipped to 1.7. Trump's up by about a point now.
Now, what about,
So-
what are you guys thinking about this Lindsey Graham race? What you're saying? Also,
Lindsey's going to hold on.
I think he'll hold on too, but it really is interesting that he had an actual challenge.
Yeah. And I think, well, here's the thing. It's North Carolina, South Carolina were always, for years, when I was growing up, they were reliable Republican states. North Carolina had Jesse Helms, and they had a Democrat who basically would switch off between being governor, president of North NC State, and the senator from North Carolina.
18% of the vote in Georgia. Trump is at 56% of the vote.
There we go. All
I think
This-
it's just Georgia and Florida. I mean, really, I think North Carolina and Pennsylvania are going to be the big two to watch.
yeah.
I heard from an inside source who has an inside source who is counting ballots in Pennsylvania, that they're anticipating trying to get us an answer tonight. We'll see if that actually is the case.
By the way, if if any of our friends want to jump on and say hello, let us know. We'll send you the Zoom link, and you can come on and say a few words. You know, if you want. I know we've got a few more people that are coming on in about 15 minutes. We're gonna have about.
That's
Jeff
great.
Thornton. Yeah.
That's great, Dwight. I was going to say also, we brought this up at the beginning of the night, and it still is holding true.
What's that?
I think this is good for our country to have the popular vote
Yeah.
mimicking around where it should be as far as the electoral vote, just because it's a complicated issue for some people to understand.
Yeah.
And right now, it looks like President Trump is up by about 500,000 votes, although he's losing in the electoral college right now. So
Yeah.
it's definitely not a blowout either way. I know it's very, very early, but 12.6 million to 12 flat million.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
And I think, like I said, I believe we're going to do. Let me tell you, I'm just going to go out on a limb. Arkansas, Kansas,
You're messing up my mat.
Louisiana. You know, we're going to have those. You know.
Yeah, we got to.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to get any shockers just
Until-
because of the way
yeah.
that the campaigns, obviously they're much more in tune, and the way that they're spending money in those states or not.
Yeah. And,
I don't think they were going after them very hard.
yeah. And more polls will close at 9:00. You know, then we're going to move to west of the Mississippi. And we got a few already, like Oklahoma and Missouri. But I think we'll get a lot of Western states will start coming in around 9:00.
Yeah, it is exciting. I am very interested, especially being in Howard County. As of the early voting, Howard County was the highest, I believe, in percentage of eligible voters voting. Over 67%, I think I saw, which I think is great. Having eligible voters getting out there and voting is awesome. I think, what was the number last election cycle? 130 million
Yep.
votes cast, something around there. If we break that or shatter that record, I think that does everyone well. Just knowing the sense that people have voted and not just voted on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and complained about the situation, but actually went out and voted. I think that's great for everyone. So we can have Thanksgiving and not complain.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the whole
you
point.
probably remember 2000 when we didn't know. That was the longest we've ever had to wait, and I think it was not good for the country. You know.
I think the most dumbfounded I've been in all of the phone calls I made while phone banking this election cycle. I had someone the other day tell me, "Oh, I already voted online." I'm like, do I tell her?
Ask her who she voted for, then tell her.
I'm pretty sure it said that she was a registered Democrat. So, and I'm pretty sure she also hung up on me right after she said that.
Oh, really? Okay.
You know what? Hey, in some countries overseas, you actually can vote online. So
Yeah. Well,
Sometimes-
you know,
Did you see that there's, because you can also bet on these outcomes. Did you guys see that the unnamed British millionaire who bet $5 million that Trump's going to win?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I saw that. But it didn't say the odds. So I'm hoping he's getting like 5-1.
he would win
He is
$15
actually.
million if he's correct.
What is it? 5-1, 3-1.
He'd win $15 million if he's
3 to
correct.
1.
You put down a $5 million.
I think a lot of people made a lot of money who bet on the president 4 years ago.
Well, they had somebody on earlier on Fox who was from what's it called, CNBC or Fox Business in the morning,
Yeah.
and said that she had called it in 2016. She told people, to because futures were so down when it looked like Trump was going to win. She told people this is a time to buy, and she said, and they said, anybody who listened to her advice probably made a lot of money in 2016.
Very true.
All right. Ohio is coming in more and more. We're at 49% in, and it looks like Biden is up 56 to Trump's 42 right now.
Okay.
So still only 49% of the vote, and only about 400,000 votes different. I think that's what it said.
By the way, I want to tell you about going back in time to the 2000 election. I went to bed around, I guess, 11:30 thinking, we've lost. We're going to have 4 years of Al Gore. And I was, when I woke up, I thought it was like the Christmas morning when I heard President Bush has won. They were saying how he's leading in Florida. And then they had all the whole dimple. By the way, because of the people in Florida, the reason we have all this crazy electronic balloting and all that nonsense is because thank the people of South Florida who didn't know how to vote a butterfly ballot in 2000. Yet they knew how to use it when they voted for Lawton Childs, when they voted for Jeb Bush for governor, when they voted for Bill Clinton for president. All of a sudden, when they voted for the Republican, they forgot how to use a butterfly ballot.
You know what? So I'll tell a similar story too. I did not fall asleep that night, Dwight. I was actually in college. So during this time, so I went to George Washington, D.C. At a DC bar. And as you can imagine, it was just crazy. We walk into
It's the colonial mob, Jackie.
Colonials. They're changing
That's right.
It's our colonial mob.
They're changing
Go
it.
Colonials.
Not for much longer. They're going to change it soon. Apparently colonials are racist. Go hippos.
Oh my God. Okay, we'll talk about that later. So I'm at a bar.
Is that really what they're going to do?
Probably. It'll probably end up being the hippos.
Could it be the fighting hippos at least? Not like the...
Hippos kill for sport. That's a pretty badass.
Well, a hippo can snap a person in half. We know that.
No, I had the only thing I remember from high school history, which is probably a really bad thing, is my teacher was like, I love hippos. They're my favorite animal because they kill for sport.
Well, so we've digressed in our conversation about the hippos, but no one really understands unless you go to GW or if you know where the statue is. They put that in when I was there back in the day. So I went out to a bar in the 2000 election.
Froggy Bottom Pub?
Definitely been there more than once.
That was
but it wasn't that bar.
Brick Scour?
So
Mr. Henry's?
I don't even remember at this point. It's been 20 years. Come on.
We're going to get through this.
I'm not like you. It must have been a good drink. I don't know. But either way, I looked at the results as they were coming in. It was just like tonight, it said something like 13 or 17%, and they called it for Gore. And I was like, I am not professional at this, but it just doesn't seem that way. And everyone in the bar, was either high-fiving or upset or whatever. And I was like, I don't think the night's over. And it was based on nothing other than the fact that I didn't think the night was over. And it didn't end up being over. So hopefully it's another night like that. Well, hopefully it's called either way for the
let me tell you my only at GW story. I am class of 2019. So it was my sophomore year during the Trump win in 2016 with my very liberal roommate and me having control of the TV watching Tucker because it's my TV. But it was, wow. It was they already had like a Hillary victory party planned. All the people watching in the Marvin Center, all the Democrats watching Marvin Center slowly filtered out as the night wore on and people were in tears. And they held a candlelight vigil the next day. Classes were canceled. Everyone was trying to sell.
Hey, they just called Arkansas for the breaking news. They just called Arkansas for President Trump.
Nice. Everyone was trying to sell their tickets for the inaugural ball because no one wanted to go anymore.
Oh my God.
I went. It was great. What? Wait, he's gasping.
No, that would be great. I would go to the inaugural ball.
No, I want to know if he's gasping because I went to the inaugural ball.
Are they? Oh, that's what. Never mind. I thought they called North Carolina.
Oh, yeah, too soon. Anyway, yeah, I mean, the inaugural ball was a lot of fun. I mean, I went with a guy on my first date. This is TMI. Didn't go great. Didn't hear from him again. Probably the late 20-something one to go to an inaugural ball with a bunch of college kids. But, you know, it was fun. I still have my dress. I hope I get to wear it again soon. But, yeah, my dad called me like 1 a.m. or whatever when they called it. And he goes, just keep your mouth closed. Just don't talk to anybody. Just go to class and don't talk to anybody.
It was actually around 2:00 in the morning, I think. When
I don't remember.
I was out with college Republicans. We went to the Montgomery County celebration at La Hinge. Then we drove to BWI to the state party affair, and we were there, and it was great.
Yeah. GW was a hot mess after the 2016.
Oh, I tell you, my former campaign manager was telling me, he goes, a professor came in and just said, I can't teach now. And just walked out.
I had
Go
ahead.
I was going to say, I will make this ploy and this pitch for anyone who's out there too. My personal opinion is whoever is your board of education, local representative, your city or county council affects your life a lot more than the president of the United States. I know we like to talk about it. It's an interesting topic, but my daughter is in virtual school because of our board of ed and our county council, and county executive. So whether or not Trump wins or Biden wins, it makes a lot less of an impact on my personal life. And that's just my pitch for kind of local politics in that sense.
In which case, let's give a shout out to one of my favorite Board of Ed candidates this year, Corinne Frank, who's also our executive director.
Yep.
Yeah, how's she doing tonight? Do we know yet?
I tell you, I'm on the, let me tell you, this is, actually, let me share this because this kind of shows how, this kind of brings of how irritating the state of Maryland is. As you see, I just hit refresh and District 1, 0. What are they holding on to this stuff for? It's not like, and these are just the House races. And if you go back, and this is the president, you think they've already called Maryland. Why don't they do if they've called the state, you can do the county breakdowns. It's not that hard. You just need to release the numbers. Then we got local offices, here. Let's see, county level ballot.
Do they have anything, questions, like even the statewide questions? Do they have anything up?
Yeah, I need to know if I can responsibly gamble and not feel bad about it now.
I mean, here's the Board of Education results for Anne Arundel County. Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to, Montgomery County, Montgomery County, which is funny, is Montgomery County is just a set of really bad choices, are really bad Democrats or not as bad as the other Democrats as the options.
What you're trying to say is Montgomery County is notoriously blue, which I think shocks nobody.
Yeah, we've got our friend Dr. Vanderhoof is watching right now. I just encourage him to come on in.
Yeah, I dropped the Zoom link in the YR group chat, so we'll see if anyone wants to swing by. Okay, so now they're saying, yeah, it's Biden 91, Trump 73, they just showed.
Where's this?
Our map.
Florida?
No, they have not called Florida yet.
No, but it's leaning red. Florida, Georgia, South Carolina are all leaning red, and North Carolina they have is leaning Biden right now.
Is Arizona, is that a 9 o'clock close or an 8:30 close?
Who's that, Arizona?
Yeah, Arizona, Wisconsin, Minnesota.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock our time.
All right. They're calling House races in Florida, though.
Good.
And look, so far I'm seeing mostly red on all these House races.
Yeah, Posey probably won. He's before the Space Coast.
Won, Soto won in Florida, so that's a Dem. Right, yeah, we do not have any net gain in this Senate thus far.
Yeah. Polls will close at 9 o'clock in Arizona, our time.
I'm really curious to see how the House shakes out. I mean, I don't think we're gonna flip it, but it'll be interesting to see what the final numbers are there.
Yeah, I tell you, that's kind of like the worst thing about the House is flipping the House is going to
Yeah,
be.
let me tell you about one candidate too that people in Maryland should be proud of too is Mike Waltz is in Florida 6. If you look up that name, 59% looks like right now out of the 89%.
Yeah, they called his race.
They called his race.
Which race is
so
this?
I say it, Mike Waltz is a good Maryland Guardsman colonel also. So although he lives in Florida and serves in Florida, he actually comes up to Maryland to do his guard duty up here, and he's a
nice.
fellow colonel. So
Now I will
good American.
Right now, Trump, and I don't know if it'll stay that way, probably not, but right now Trump's winning in the popular vote. I just think it would be such a nice middle finger to the left if he wins the popular vote and the electoral college. Be like, oh, what's that about getting rid of the electoral college? Because
and that's see the Democrats.
California is not in at all, though. Careful.
This is true. This is very true. California, and again, I know it's not this election cycle. I am very curious to see what happens. I mean, unfortunately, I think a lot of people have a short memory, but I think that Nancy, had she been running this year.
Yeah, I want to do a shout out to an old friend of mine, Chris Terrell. He just joined us on our Facebook feed. How are you doing, Chris, this evening? Reminds us of the good old days, and posted good times tonight.
County on Fox right now. It's where my parents live. Shout out to Boca.
Yeah, hey Jackie, I agree with you though. It would be very interesting if the popular vote went the same way as the Electoral College, both in the Republican, sense would be great. California is huge, but then again, Maryland voted more percentage-wise for Hillary than California did, so maybe it'll be closer out there.
Yeah.
I think a big win for me personally would be if we lose at least one member of the squad tonight. Because, as a Jewish female, I hate seeing what's happening with the squad and how they're saying, Kamala Harris is saying that they're going to give more money to Palestinians if they win the, and I'm just like, those 4 women, I'm going to use that word loosely because I think that they're probably, they're less than human in my opinion. I think they're evil. They scare me as one person.
Are there any of them in a competitive race? I haven't tracked them very closely.
A lot of competitors in the primary. I was really hoping that she would get primaried. Unfortunately, she didn't.
Who's that, AOC?
No, Ilhan Omar.
AOC's probably a primary Chuck Schumer.
Republican challenger, but she dropped out. That was disappointing.
I think AOC is probably going to be primary Chuck Schumer in a couple of years for that Senate seat, which will be a fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for that bloodbath. That'll be great.
Yeah, it's going to be like Chuck's going to all of a sudden discover that he's maybe Jewish again. He might discover that.
Right, and Nancy Pelosi very much doesn't really agree with the squad. The squad are pretty much taking their stomping orders.
Well, I tell you, I think it would be funny if she loses.
Who?
You're
talking about AOC losing?
Yeah. No, Nancy Pelosi losing her speakership.
Oh, that would be interesting for sure.
I wonder what happens if, hypothetically, let's say, let's just live in an imaginary world. Let's just say they lose the House tonight, or if they lose, like right now they're up by 16 seats, and if they're only up by 14 seats by the end of the night, is that enough for Nancy Pelosi to be deposed as Speaker? I know.
The one thing the Democrats do well is band together. So no matter how much they fight, I don't think that they're gonna, if they have one more vote in the House, I think they'll elect a Democrat. And part of it is team ball, right? You got to stay on your own team, no matter how much you don't like that person on your team.
Yeah, it's really interesting because there definitely is a lot of infighting.
We're not like that though.
It's almost like there's 3 kind of parties. There's the Republicans, and then there's the socialist Democrats and then the normal Democrats, you know, so it's really interesting that there's a lot of fighting within the two factions of the Democratic Party.
As
When it comes to, you know, it's like the enemy of my friend kind of thing is
as Dr. Rabinowitz used to always say, he's my granddad's neighbor, would always say that, you know, I belong to no organized party. I am a Republican. And that's kind of true. You know, here's the thing. We're individuals, you know, as Republicans. We're kind of like the Klingon Empire.
Here's the Star Trek. Here we go.
We're very individualized. We're not, you know, we're not like mind numb zombies like, you know, the Federation, you know, where the prime directive.
Right now, North Carolina with 68% of the votes in is leaning towards Biden. So we'll see. And so very soon, and the polls haven't closed yet in Michigan, but with 8%, they had like 68%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not too impressed with North Carolina right now, although the percentage is different. I mean, as in there's a large degree of difference in the percentage. Vote totals don't look that big left. So 200,000 votes, less than 200,000 votes.
With a little bit more than half of the votes in is leaning with a much smaller margin than North Carolina, but is leaning towards Biden at the moment.
Yep, and then they've also got what do you call? One of the problems they also have in North Carolina is remember they still have there's still absentee ballots and stuff like that, but that's only if we're really close. But
if we're playing
North Carolina is kind of, you know, I mean, we can make a substitution, you know, flip some other states somewhere else, but we really do need to win North Carolina tonight, frankly.
I would say if we're playing hypotheticals, what happens if Biden takes North Carolina and Ohio, but Trump takes Florida and Pennsylvania?
President Trump becomes the president.
Because I think that Pennsylvania, we only have like 6% of the votes right now, so it's way, way too soon to call. But I think it's pretty safe to say that Trump is going to take Florida.
Yeah, and Florida, Texas, you know. What's great is it's going to be a long evening tonight.
Absolutely.
And I'll probably be jumping off in about 20 minutes or so myself, and I'll give the baton to Jackie, you know, to keep going tonight, you know.
I get to hear all about my crazy college years of sitting.
Yeah, you know, and we've got, you know, the other doctors are out there, you know, they can all chime in and jump in, you know. Like I think, but our first, what do you call? We had a nice evening. You know, I know Jerry DeWolf will be jumping on soon.
Let me give you an update too about Texas. It looks like they have 47% in, and it looks like it's 50 to 48.6, with Biden in the lead at this point. So very close, within a point and a half.
Yeah.
So,
but those are numbers from Austin, you know.
Yeah, you're most likely right. So a lot of room to go there. 47% in, very close in Texas. So,
White, you should text Patrick O'Keefe because he's had some very interesting predictions over the last few days.
Oh yeah, sure.
He has a prediction about every 10 minutes, I think.
Yes.
You know, the problem with Facebook is once you read one of them, then you get them up, then Patrick's stuff comes up on my feed all the time. So now I just see every single one of his posts.
Michigan, 8% of the vote in is 58% Trump. Again, way too soon to tell, but always interesting to see that.
So are we doing? What did you say? Repeat that again.
8% of the vote in, they're at 58% Trump in Michigan.
Oh, nice. And that's Michigan?
Yes, but still a very long way to go there.
True.
Still showing Biden 52, Trump 46 in North Carolina with almost 70% of the vote in.
Yeah, I don't like that, North Carolina.
I don't.
Aren't they counting mail-in ballots until Friday?
Yeah.
Call it tonight.
I don't know. I mean, it's for the pundits. You know that it doesn't really matter what they talk about tonight. They have to do the canvas, the second canvas, the third canvas, and get all the.
Ohio is 43 Trump, I think 55 Biden, with I think it's at 53% of the vote in until it scrolls over again. Pennsylvania, we still have very few numbers in.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia's still doing well with Trump in the lead at 56%.
That's true. We haven't seen it.
Can you open a second map so we can play a hypothetical game here?
Sure. You want to share it? You want to pull up, you want to go to,
270 to win.
and then share your screen.
Google Chrome.
I will say as you bring that up, the popular vote is still trending in Trump's way right now, 50% to 48.7%.
Is this the one I can play with? Let me play here. Here we go. So I wonder is there an option where it'll show me the ones that are already called? I can just go from there. Maybe not.
Better to reset and just.
Right. Okay. What's it doing here?
Yeah. Basically.
All right. So let's say that
You could just do safe. Yeah. Just.
say Pennsylvania goes red.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say
Michigan.
Florida goes red. Michigan goes red. What else were we playing with? Let's say we're gonna say North Carolina goes blue.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia goes red. Ohio goes blue. So Arizona and Iowa is what we're looking.
So if we win Arizona and Iowa,
What's happening in Iowa right now?
we're going to win Iowa. That's not even a question.
Yeah, I think a recent poll came out with him up
Yeah.
7 or something like that.
But
That
we're
was
still.
this week.
We'd also have to win somewhere like Nevada or Nevada or New Mexico. We need to flip one of those too.
Right.
It's still 261 to 270.
And what about what are we thinking about Wisconsin right now? We think it's going to stay. It's going to go blue.
Let's say we hold Wisconsin. Let's say we flip Minnesota and hold on to Wisconsin, and then that's our path.
Yeah, I mean, even with Wisconsin alone, that puts us at 271.
Yeah,
But if Wisconsin stays blue and we flip Minnesota,
it still takes us to the
still
magic number.
271.
Yeah, I tell you what, we do not need a 271 win.
That is how we get a civil war right there.
We're not going to have.
we're not getting a civil war, but I'm just
we're not gonna
saying,
have a civil
you don't
war.
want 271.
Do you think it's safe to say we are out of the range of possibility for the 269 split and having a tie?
I don't think that's going to happen, frankly.
If it happens any year, it's happening in 2020. I'm just throwing it out there.
That is true. 2020 is a crazy year.
It doesn't get more 2020 than interim President Nancy Pelosi. So
Don't even say that.
Yeah. Perish that thought. But well,
Yeah, I'm excited. Top of the hour here, 11 minutes. And I might drop off too, Dwight, but
yeah. Well,
I want to see what drops in 11 minutes here.
Yeah, I'm going to be on to about 9.
Mark Unkefer has joined us.
Hey, Doc.
Excellent.
We're
Mark.
just wargaming right now.
Mark, what do you think of our hypothetical situation here? He may be on mute. I am not.
Yeah, he needs to ask him to unmute. Also, Reed, you're muted too for some
Oh,
reason.
Mark, I think we can hear you now.
Yeah, I just mute when I have to talk to the people on my
okay.
office here.
Mark,
So
can you hear us? Can we hear you? Yes.
Yeah, I like Michigan. It's Mark, I know you're coming online 10% in and they have Trump up 57 to 40%. So we'll see how Michigan's coming.
I don't think I foresaw Michigan going to Trump, but he made a lot of really good points, especially in recent days, talking about, the Obama administration failed you when it came to Flint. And, didn't they find a couple of years ago or last year, like a warehouse full of bottled water in Flint, Michigan?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they
Possible.
have. That was really bad.
I wish Jeff didn't have issues with his connection tonight. Otherwise, Jeff is he's from Maryland, but he's lived in Michigan for the past, I think, 10 years or so more. You know, but
Tell if Mark is angry because he doesn't have headphones on and can't hear us, or if he can hear us.
and there's no real surprises either. Can you hear us now, Mark?
No reaction. Full space,
Dwight, I can hear you.
Yeah, everyone can hear me.
except for Mark.
Yeah, it looks 9 minutes left. And we got another drop of votes coming in.
Mark, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm having trouble with my earphones.
We can hear you
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
We had Governor Ehrlich on in the first half hour, doing a recap with Jerry Cave. It was very well done, very well executed. By the way, the state of Maryland, what gives? Why don't you have any numbers for us to look at right
Still
now?
not posted numbers.
Nothing. And we really want to know that the results of several key House races, 6, and would love to see the breakdown of how the vote was for the president across the state. But I think it's safe to say the Eastern Shore and Western Maryland were all red, and that 95 corridor is very blue. So blue, it's black, almost looking,
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All
Here
right.
now.
Old school works, I guess.
By the way, the state of Maryland, very disappointed in their website for giving us real-time results. Polls
Why
have
are
been
you
closed
surprised?
No,
Sorry.
I wish I could say I was, but no.
So,
But-
Mark, I don't know if you got a chance to look at our hypothetical situation map that we're playing with here.
What's that?
I will show it to you. Here we go. So we were messing around with the idea of Trump winning either Minnesota or Wisconsin. Right now early numbers have him winning in Michigan, so that should be interesting to see if it stays that way. We're predicting him winning in Arizona. I think that Biden is going to take Ohio, at least with the way it looks right now, which shocks me, by the way, as well as North Carolina, but Trump will take Pennsylvania and Florida. So this is what we're playing around with right now. Obviously, 271 as a win is a little bit too close for comfort, but what are your thoughts on this map?
So what does that give us?
271.
Oh my goodness.
Then there's the doomsday scenario where we lose Pennsylvania, which I don't think we're going to lose Pennsylvania.
Well, right now it's trending favorably towards Biden, but that's because there's very few amount of votes in, and probably from Philly.
Yeah.
Now, there is also the potential that Trump manages to win Wisconsin and Minnesota, and then we have 281.
Yeah.
And if we're going really hypothetically, what if we could pick up Nevada and New Mexico also? That
Well,
gives
if,
us-
if you want to get some inside scoop on New Mexico, we should give our friend Sam Ledoux a quick call. See what he's hearing from New Mexico.
Is he waiting in line?
No,
So they haven't called the North Carolina Senate race yet, have they?
they have not that we know of.
But they called the gubernatorial race.
Oh,
Right.
who did
Cooper.
Man, Dan Forrest was a great candidate. He was how is he gonna be president now?
So if we're going by the Patrick O'Keefe method of prediction here, if Biden takes North Carolina, then Biden wins hands down. But I really do think that Pennsylvania is going to close red, and I think we're all fairly certain that Florida is going to close for Trump as well.
Now, have they called North Carolina?
Not
Yeah.
yet, but with over 70% of the vote in at this point, it was leaning heavily towards Biden. Not heavily, but significantly enough towards Biden.
Well, right now, North Carolina is 51% Biden, 47% Trump, with 73% in. So
We're
about
closing that
4
gap.
points. It's
Yeah,
about
it's
4
definitely
points.
closing a little bit, but I don't know. Is there enough votes left? I don't think so.
There's enough votes left, but I don't know if they're the right votes, right? So There's definitely enough votes out there.
Fortunately, they don't break down and tell us how many of each, party affiliation have already voted, have already had their votes.
Well, the challenge, of course, is between early voting, mail votes, and
and you weren't on when Governor Ehrlich mentioned that the Republicans actually won the early vote turnout there in North Carolina. More Republicans voted early than Democrats.
They already called Maine, right?
Yes, they did.
And so it's fully blue, right?
Yeah,
Fully blue.
So what's happening in the Senate race there?
I believe Susan Collins won.
That's a big surprise.
I don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that she won.
I won't quote you. I'm gonna check.
Because they said we're calling a number of Senate races on Fox, and I was on mute at the time, and they showed Susan Collins first. There was no check mark.
I wonder if she still has the same cell phone she had in 1996. The phone number, I should say.
I was going to say the same cell phone. I doubt it. It would be older than I am.
Yeah. But she would have, if she does, I could try calling her.
I would recommend you not do that.
What you gonna do?
Dwight who?
I'm the guy that delivered Maine for you in 1996.
Mark shared GW stories earlier.
Yeah, we got the GW mob one tonight, Mark.
I was.
So Fox says that with 2% of the vote in Maine, Susan Collins is up. It doesn't tell you a lot.
Oh, 3 minutes. More polls are closing.
Yep.
Where?
I was filling.
Arizona is going to be closing at 9.
Arizona, Minnesota, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see Michigan and Wisconsin. And
I hope it's a sweep for us, those three,
So I was filling Reed in about how they're getting ready. They actually already have a committee in place to change the mascot at GW because colonials are racist.
Yeah.
So are they going to change the name?
Mascot in the world. It's like a GW. It's like literally George Washington.
It's the dude, man. They're also trying to change the name of the Marvin Center.
No, it's actually, Tillis is picked up a little. So he was down 200,000. He's now basically down 150.
So saying right now, Fox is saying 89% probability that Biden takes North Carolina.
Yeah, that's not good probabilities.
It's interesting that the Maine, they called for Biden, but still showing 54% Trump.
Well, it's kind of like 2 years ago when they called Maryland for Hogan. And
I'd say, does that happen where they call it for one state, but then they have to backtrack on that? Does that happen?
Yes.
2000 they did. 2000
there's a possibility that Maine flips because it's saying 42 Biden, 54 Trump, but they're called it for Biden already.
Well, in 2000 they called Florida for Al Gore.
Gore, yeah, and the presidency.
Then they had to switch it to Bush, and then they had to switch it to not yet, too close to call. Yeah. And then in December they finally decided to call it for. Was it December? I think it was a week before Thanksgiving. They decided to call it for. I want to say it was December. They decided to call it for President Bush.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if they flop on Maine.
Now, I'd love to know where the returns are coming in Michigan because it's how shall I say, a lumpy state.
I want to say these are probably numbers from Detroit, I bet. Detroit.
Well, in that case, what's interesting is the Republican is up in the Senate race.
So I tell you what, I like the fact that Trump is up by a lot of percentage in Florida at this point, more than 2. It's 3 points he's up. And now I think we're flipping on to 40 seconds and we'll have more results coming in.
Oh yeah, I've got our map.
Another thing we want to see when Arizona closes is how Martha McSally did in her race.
They close at 9.
Well, that's now. Or 57 seconds.
Yeah.
An astronaut versus a fighter pilot. What a great race.
Yeah. Is this Gabby Gifford's husband that's running, or who's the astronaut that's running?
Kelly. Yeah. Mark Kelly.
Maine even more. It's only 2% of the vote in, and now it's saying 55% Trump. He's going up. We'll see what happens there.
Well, it's
Maryland
funny.
Said 42% Biden, 55% Trump.
Oh, in Maryland?
With less than 1% of the vote in.
Yeah, that'll be the last time that Trump is ahead in Maryland, I think.
Yeah, I don't think
those are the numbers from Eastern Shore.
Michigan right now, 57 Trump, 41 Biden with 14%.
See the silencer.
All right, let's see. They just added, oh gosh, they added a couple of states here.
Okay.
They called them already?
Yep, Biden is up to 129 electoral votes and Trump Pence 92.
Where did Biden win? New York?
They're
Yeah,
announcing it now. Hold on.
Yeah, New York, they hit New York, Illinois, Colorado.
I thought we already called Illinois.
Yeah, no, there are no surprises. The big one, I think, is Colorado and New Jersey, which
Colorado, it looks like they called.
that's
Not
bad
a
for
su-
Corey
not a
that
su-
they called it so quickly, though.
They probably gave away, I don't know, maybe the Biden campaign gave away free pot or something like that.
Yeah. Are we on the air?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ohio is 53 Biden, 40.
Ixnay on that, Dwight. Ixnay.
Then again, we haven't won Ohio, Colorado
Texas,
since
50
President
Biden,
Bush.
48.7 Trump with 56% of the vote
What
Which was
state
that?
was that?
in Texas.
Hmm.
Pennsylvania is 71 Biden, 24 Trump with only 99% of the vote
Oh,
in.
9%.
90% would have been what happened.
That's Philadelphia.
And Pittsburgh.
But I tell you, here's the thing, one
They called Louisiana for Trump.
So Biden is ahead in Texas.
Not
Still-
by a large margin, though.
Yeah.
But it's more than half the vote. Michigan, 57 Trump, 41.2 Biden, 14% of the vote in.
And
Trump,
this is
Nebraska, and Wyoming.
Shocker.
by the way, did they call Wyoming for us?
Yeah.
They called Louisiana.
We got it. Did we win Louisiana?
And they called Nebraska for us.
Okay. What about Utah, Kansas, any of those?
Let's see if it pops up. Kansas, I think they said too close to call, if I'm looking at this correctly.
What?
Wyoming.
Yeah, Biden's up in Kansas.
How is that possible? The land of Bob Dole.
Hey, we're winning in the House right now, but obviously there's way more that's something. They called North Dakota for us, and South Dakota. New York for Biden. Colorado for Biden.
So 130 to 95 is what we're at.
Called yet.
But this is where we were 4 years ago at this time too.
Trump is up to 51.2% in Florida with Biden at 47.9%. That's with 90% of the votes in. Hickenlooper won in Colorado. I'm so glad he didn't win. I couldn't even imagine saying the words President Hickenlooper because that name is just so absurd.
Gosh.
Hickenlooper won the Senate race there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Incumbent, so.
Even, it's funny, Colorado, they'll elect an ethically
9.28.
challenged former governor over
Sorry?
on
So Hickenlooper actually won by a lot.
Hickenlooper. Sounds like a disease, the name.
You know,
No, but here's the thing. Colorado,
James versus Peters. James is
if they
up
want
right now.
Hickenlooper as their representative in the United States Senate, fine.
James is up to 58% right now in his race in Michigan.
Yeah, it's a good race. All right, Dwight and team. I think I'm going to call it a night here
Okay.
and retire to watch the rest of it.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm gonna do the same. So I'll leave things in your
Jesus.
trusted hands.
Mark.
Well,
What?
Dwight and I have been here for the last 2 hours, Mark. Welcome,
We can do this
welcome
in
to the
7.
team.
whole new team.
So now it's Biden 41, Trump 57 in Michigan. Look, we could take a break and come back on live later. I don't know.
Why don't we do that?
Okay, we will be.
Is
back.
anybody listening?
Yeah, we actually do have a lot of people watching on Facebook.
I tell you.
Take a quick poll. How many people just want to hear about me talk about college? And
Do you guys want us to stay on, or do you want us to take a break? And I I will give Jackie. I'll probably not come back on, but you can log on as me.
It's
and
Dwight's bedtime
It actually is. I've been up so early this morning. I've been like fighting. staying
because you
awake.
were out campaigning, right?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to take a
Right
nap
now, the
either.
Senate has a net gain of +1 for the Dems. They need +4 to take over.
How do they have +2, +1? They lost Alabama. Which one are they?
I don't know. I'm just watching the ticker go by on Fox.
Well, they picked up. Well, Colorado was a pickup.
Yeah,
which
but
was-
have they called
Iowa's at 53-45 Biden still.
Have they called North Carolina?
Not yet.
No.
I can't believe Dan Forrest lost.
Pennsylvania is now closing up. Still a lot to go, but it says 70% Biden, 25% Trump, and that's still 9% of the vote in.
Maybe it'll be like 2000. I'll go to bed and I'll wake up and it'll be President Trump.
You
We were
never know, my
talking-
friend.
We were talking about 2000, Mark, where I went to bed and then I woke up and it was President Trump. And I thought the inventor of the internet, Albert Gore, was going to be the next president.
Every time you say Al Gore, I just keep thinking Man Bear Pig because I watch too much South Park.
Was he on South Park? Did they?
No, they make fun of Al Gore a lot. It's like this conspiracy theorist. He's like, they're gonna kill all of us.
Well, Al Gore has he runs a diner now. He puts his receipts at night. He puts his receipts in a lockbox. No, seriously, he does have a diner in Tennessee somewhere. One of our viewers will tell us. Breaking news. Oh, they projected Hickenlooper as the winner.
Yeah.
So, okay.
It is tightening up in North Carolina. It's going to be a real nail biter. So when I first came
what
on,
percentage of the votes are in?
when I first came, 77%. But when I first came on, Tillis was down by 200,000. He's picked up 100,000 votes. So the
Those
votes that
good
are coming
people.
in are definitely Tillis, tilting
Yeah.
Tillis.
And this is probably Eastern North Carolina and Charlotte suburbs that are coming in now.
Well, that would be a bad thing. I'm sorry.
What did you say?
Ixnay. Ixnay on
No,
that.
Mark, you said Tillis is pulling ahead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and these would be like Eastern North Carolina is more concerned, not Eastern, Western North Carolina.
Eastern and Western. And you say-
Is 35% of the vote in with 57% Trump, 41% Biden.
Where's this?
Georgia.
Georgia. So it looks like Trump's going to win Georgia.
I think so.
Good.
Ohio is still leaning to Biden. Montgomery County, Ohio, 60% Biden. Come on, Montgomery County.
Yeah, they actually reach out to us a lot when they Google search us.
Montgomery County, Ohio went to Trump very narrowly in 2016.
Montgomery County, Maryland, quite decisively is probably going to go for Joe Biden. Then again, people in Montgomery County could be voting for Al Gore, still. It's like do you remember Professor Elliott at all, Mark?
Yep.
He used to talk about how the Hill people still think they're voting for FDR. They come down from the mountains and they think they're still voting for FDR. And they go there to the ballot box. They don't see FDR on the ballot. They're all confused.
All right.
Voting in
I'm actually going to call it a night for sure now. Thank you all.
Reed.
We'll talk
Good
soon.
night.
I'll be on the interwebs later, watching and tracking.
Yep.
Reed.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. And
I'm not calling Florida.
yeah, I'm gonna call it. I might be on back later.
We're calling Dwight as we speak.
Yes. Oh, hold on.
I mean, we might probably need to go off air for at least a half an hour or so. Maybe we'll come back on when they call.
Yeah.
When Iowa closes, because I gotta walk my dog.
Okay. I'm leaving too. See
Okay,
ya.
everyone. So Jackie, you know how to log in. So
I think so. Text me your password again. I know the email. I had it on a sticky note on my.
Put it in chat. No.
Don't do that. I had it on a sticky note on my laptop, and I just deleted it the other day. So I was like, I'm never gonna use this.
You do real good security.
I think this is it.
If Ryan or Marcus were on this show, they would be trying to wring your neck.
I already know. Okay, I just put it in our
Our channel will not be. People can hack into it and tell us, find out.
Right.
No, this is our encrypted chat channel.
We have a good audience.
Yeah, so, and I can always change that password on a whim.
Barry
so.
O'Donnell is definitely getting his information from us. Not
Barry O'Donnell.
Trump is
Who's that now?
picking up steam in Pennsylvania with still a lot of the vote to go.
Who's Barry O'Donnell again?
Barry O'Connell,
O'Connell. I'm sorry.
O'Connell.
Crazy guy on Maryland politics who I think has a weird obsession with Kim Klacik.
You know,
He
Dwight, before we go off,
probably used to go to the club, but we won't go there.
Dwight, any final update on whether or not Maryland has announced numbers before we drop off for a bit?
I really wish they would, but Maryland, it's like we're living
But bear in mind, given the dynamics.
Okay, you don't think they just have to take those ballots?
Keep in mind that this is unlike any other election in terms of the unpredictability of the way votes are coming in. You used to in Ohio. I'm now actually saying something like intelligent that you could say on any television show. So it used to be in Ohio, the votes would come in, and you'd see how many votes would come in from Cayuga County. And the question, if Cayuga County hadn't come in, did they have enough votes to overcome the Republican? This year, we've got like absentee ballots to worry about. We've got the early voting, essentially in most jurisdictions will be in, although not everywhere. And obviously the same day voting. So it's a real kind of question mark where, which votes are coming in for these remaining votes.
I'm really curious to see if we're looking at a situation where Biden takes Texas.
He's not going to take Texas. You can put that in the bank.
All right.
But you're seeing Texas very competitive.
Well, I hate to say it, not to be that guy, but it's the fact. I think it's Austin. These numbers could all be coming in from
We're far
Austin.
beyond just counting Austin's numbers at this point. We're over 70% of the vote counted.
Could be Houston. Could be Houston area, Dallas.
It's a big state. Big, in terms of the size and the number of votes. But I'm curious. If has it ever been this close in Texas that you guys remember in recent history?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It has.
But I'm dating myself to when Texas was a Democratic state.
This is my second presidential election.
I hear it. I mean, Texas went for John F. Kennedy, went for Lyndon Johnson.
It went to LBJ.
It didn't go. It went for Nixon both times, right?
Did it?
I can't remember. I think it went for Jerry Ford, but did it?
No, LBJ when he ran in I'm not talking about this is the 64 when he ran against Goldwater. Didn't it go for LBJ?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
This right now is 52 Biden, 46.
Nixon won it in 68 and 72.
So let me
LBJ
see
was
here.
more in that quagmire called Vietnam.
So it went for Carter Mondale in 76.
They haven't shown any preliminary information for Wisconsin yet.
If Reagan were nominated in 76, we would have carried Texas easily.
Well, yeah, but
Maryland with 3% of the vote in is still showing 57% Trump. I think they only counted like the Montgomery County Republican Club's votes, and that's it.
Montgomery County and Prince George's County, they're actually these are probably shore numbers from the shore in Western Maryland.
now he said, "Look, we got enough votes. Let's just go home.
Let's call it right there.
Let's call it right now."
No, but I mean, I'd like to know how the other.
Okay, so showing Texas right now on Fox. I mean, there's a huge portion of the state that's still blank.
Oh yeah, I mean,
It's interesting because they called 70% of the vote or 60%.
Well, and that's
of the vote.
one of the issues. I just don't know how they know. Well, they could be doing. They may have estimates as to what the final vote will be. So
Trump is closing up in North Carolina. He's up to 48.2 with Biden at 50. And that's at about 80% of the vote counted. If he's able to cinch North Carolina, then I think that's a really, really good sign for us.
Yeah. I wonder if things go south in the morning, do I have time to call my broker and tell him to sell?
Well, it's interesting. The markets really took a nice jump upwards the past few days. And I think, the market doesn't like uncertainty. And I'm wondering if they're going up because they're predicting a Trump win, because certainly a Biden win would not show good things in the market.
Yeah. I mean, Biden's going to come after our money. Anybody making $100,000 will be getting a tax increase under the Biden plan.
Well, tell me who controls the Senate, though.
So, I don't know. I really don't. So Patrick, as of 11 minutes ago, seems to think, because the New York Times seems to think, that Trump will win North Carolina.
Really?
There you go.
By 1.1%.
That's good news for Tillis.
Mm-hmm.
God, we need Tillis.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see. Can we pull up a list of the Senate races that have been called so far? Because Mark wanted to know how.
I'm looking at them now. And not technically the only ones who've been called are Colorado's been called. We're still Kentucky, of course, has been called.
Virginia's been called. West Virginia.
Virginia's called.
They haven't called
Kentucky,
the Rams race yet, right?
Tennessee.
Susan Collins is still ahead, but only 3% of the vote. Michigan is 17% of the vote, and John James is up 58% to 39%. So the
you don't
question.
know anything about Martha McSally yet, right?
No, I doubt that there's any substantial. Yeah, not yet. So we have a pickup. Clearly, we have a pickup in Alabama, although I don't think they've called that yet. That's interesting. I don't think they've called Alabama yet.
They did for Trump. Oh, you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about Senate races.
Yeah. The initial with less than 1% of the vote in, the initial for Wisconsin is 58% Trump.
Can you believe a Udall is now representing the great state of New Mexico?
If
he's related to the bad Udall. Well, he's a bad Udall too, actually.
If Don were on, he would point out that he's good Mormon.
Georgia, Trump's lead went down by like 0.5%, I think. He's at 56.5% right now.
Lamar didn't run, but we held that Tennessee seat. Bill Hagerty.
He's holding strong in Florida. I think Florida's a done deal. They're at 91% of the vote in.
Yeah.
Trying to see what parts.
Except have the polls in Panhandle closed.
They already.
No,
Panhandle's all going red here.
Sorry, that's a
2000 joke.
That's a 2000 joke.
Okay, well,
I'm dating myself from 20 years ago.
If you're asking seriously though, so Panhandle went for Trump.
Yes, well, it better, or else Trump might as well just open up.
I don't see where the spots are still waiting.
The Space Coast also went for Trump. My home away from home. where the far
on a commercial, which is a sign that my dog probably. I guess they're calling officially Democrats retain House control.
For what?
I don't know. They just showed a big graphic on Fox.
The House.
Democrats retain House control, which I don't think shocks anybody. But.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about now, which I think is a good opportunity for me to go and walk my dog.
All right.
Okay, everyone. See you guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back on in a little while, in a half an hour. Hopefully, we'll have some really good news then.
Live from the White House, right?
Yeah.
You mean the Dwight House?
The Dwight House.
Yes.
Hi.
Bye. Good night, everyone.